everybody, and welcome to this kind of bright but blustery Thursday afternoon. And I'm thrilled today to be introducing you all, if you've not already met her, to the wonderful Kim Nash.
Hi, everybody.
Lots of you know Kim.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello. Lovely to have you here. Let me just see.
It's a bit weird being on the other side of the things.
Here. Sorry?
So it feels a bit strange being on the other side of things because I'm normally doing the interviewing.
I know. Well, actually, that was one of the reasons that I wanted to do this chat with you today, was because, as I'm sure lots of people will remember, during the dreadful times of the pandemic, one of the things that kept a lot of people going were all those wonderful author chats that you did week after week after week. Bless you. It was a tremendous effort, and I know I certainly appreciated it, and I know loads and loads of other people did as well. So as soon as I knew that you'd signed up with Boldwood, I was like, right, that's one favor that can be repaid, because I just wanted to return that to you. So I'm going to officially welcome you to the Boldwood family. And lots of people online saying hello. Hello, everybody. I'll keep an eye out. If you've got a question, just pop it in the comments, because we get to see them and I'll pick them up as we go. So today we're celebrating publication day for Hopeful Hearts at Cornish Cove. And I've been lucky enough to have a sneak peek at this. And honestly, it's one of those books that just makes you feel great inside as you're reading it. So as some of you might know, I'm on deadline at the moment, so the last thing I wanted was anything that was going to stress me out, and Kim's book's been like a balm in the evenings when I've just been able to run off to Cornwall for an hour now and again and spend some time with the characters. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the setup for the story?
So here's the book. Don't know if it's coming through on the right way around. I'm hoping it is.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So it's about a girl called Meredith, or a woman called Meredith, who's just approaching her 50th birthday. She's divorced, in a dead-end job. Just as I say, just coming up to her 50th birthday. Her dating life. She's tried to go into the dating world, but it's been a bit of a disaster for her. She's met some real idiots, and she decides she's just sitting at home one night, has a glass of wine, probably one too many, has a bit of a surf around on the internet, as you do, and I'm hoping everybody else does this as well, because I know I do, and looking at properties and where you might like to end up living. And she sees a lighthouse on the internet and thinks, oh, that's nice. It was a bit of a knockdown price, and she puts a bid in, a really stupid bid for it, and then discovers that maybe it wasn't so stupid after all, because she won the bid. So the lighthouse is in Cornwall, in a fictional village called Driftwood Bay, and she takes off for a new life in Cornwall.
Well, I mean, I think we've all had sort of impulse purchases late at night on the internet. I remember, I've never bought a lighthouse. I bought a very, very, very bad idea of a jumpsuit, which went back in the post the next day. I'm not built for jumpsuits. That's one thing I've learned from my late night browsing. So I'm guessing you've never bought a lighthouse, but have you ever clicked and regretted, or clicked and
loads of times? And especially when lockdown was in, it was so funny, because I think I just entertained myself by buying things from Amazon. And I used to sit outside with my neighbour. We used to meet up at 4 o'clock nearly every day, and she'd sit on her lawn and I'd sit on my lawn, and we'd either have a beer or a cup of tea, normally a beer. And the Amazon van used to come, and we used to just like look at him as if to say, oh, I wonder what we've got today. Ordering complete and utter rubbish on the internet all the time. But it was as much of a surprise to me as it was to anybody else, to be fair.
That sounds a lot like me with my neighbour, because her husband was also in the RAF, and he was away. He was on deployment, and was actually supposed to come back the week before lockdown. And of course they cancelled it all, so he was there and my husband was over in Brussels. So yeah, we had quite a lot of you're on your boundary line and I'm on my boundary line, sitting out the front with a glass of wine, just to keep each other going. So one of the things I really love about this book is the fact that Meredith is an older heroine. That's something that you purposely set out to do when you were writing the book? Was that something that you felt a story that you needed to tell?
It wasn't to start with, to be honest. Meredith started off as a much younger character, but when I met up with Emily, my editor, she asked me what my passion was and what I really liked to write. And I talked about one of my previous books, actually, Sunshine and Second Chances, which was about 4 50-year-old women, or sort of approaching 50 or already were 50, kind of at different stages in their life. And they went on holiday together, and it was all about them sort of putting strong women together and seeing what they could do. So they kind of, everybody thought, each other of them kind of thought that the others had got their life together, but they actually hadn't. And I really, really enjoyed writing that. And when Emily said, this character, I think I put her at something like 37 to start with. Because and the reason I've done that is because somebody told me that that's the age that people like to read characters of. And I kind of went, not sure I do, but it's fine, I'll do that, And when Emily said to me, is this your passion? Do you really like to write about characters that age? And I said, no. I said, I want to write about characters my age. I'm a bit older than 50 now. But I just kind of wanted to write about the things that happen in our lives, and the things that I could probably relate to. So she said to me, well, why don't we just make Meredith older? So I said, I'm well up for that, really, really, definitely up for that. So I made her older, and I felt so much better. It just felt right to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the story works brilliantly with her. It's completely relatable. And a lot of our readers, women of that age, and they don't all want to read about sort of 20 somethings and starting life and things like that. I mean, I write lots of those books as well, but I like writing older characters as well. It's something that I think more about, as I'm going along, that's actually, a sort of direction that, I think I'd like to go in a bit more as well. I mean, my secondary characters, the sort of the next generation are always really interesting to me. So they always get subplots and stories and things like that, because they're the people that sometimes I almost relate the most to when I'm writing those books, because they're the people that have got the same sort of ups and downs and life experiences and worries and everything that I have. So I mean, that was one of the things that I really liked, and one of the things I want to give Boldwood a shout out for, because they've got a really great kind of stable of women writing, really great, vibrant, stronger, old, relatable female characters, and we're encouraged to do that. And I think that's brilliant, because there's definitely a market out there for it. And I'm really, it's great that we're kind of representing it. So more. One of the things that I love as well is the kind of the community that you've built. Because when Meredith arrives, it's a bit hit and miss. She meets some lovely people, but she also has a bit of a kind of, not everybody's quite so welcoming. And one of the people who isn't quite so welcoming, I mean, I don't think we can call it a meet cute. It's almost the reverse of a meet cute, is when she meets Clem, who's our hero, who is aka Mr. Rude. Yeah, honestly, I laughed out loud as soon as she was in that car park. I was like, "Here we go."
He's still hot, though, isn't he? He might be rude, but he's still quite hot.
He was hot, but he was rude. But I do like the fact that there's quite a bit in her head. She's like, "Oh, it's Mr. Rude. Here's Mr. Rude," and I thought it was it's fun. I like that. I like something that's a bit different. That you've got, that there's a tension between those two characters, and that was fun. Did you you've got quite a lot of humor in your book, which I really enjoyed. Is that something that comes naturally to you, or do you think that is that something that you have to?
Well, humor's quite subjective, isn't it? So what I think is funny, some other people might not think is funny. And there is one part in the book that I was kind of, is this funny? Is it really childish? Is it a bit Carry On filmish? But it's the one part that people have been messaging me going, oh my God, I've got to that bit and I've been laughing my head off. So I was really pleased that people kind of get my sense of humour. I have got a bit of a weird sense of humour, and what I think is
No, well, if you have, then I have, because it made me absolutely. I was sitting there chuckling away, and I really,
good.
I loved it. And you kind of, and Clem's dad as well. He's an absolute diamond. He made me
Yeah.
just, as soon as he was on the page, I was like, this is what I love. I love quirky characters. I love building that sense of community. And that was one of the things that that I really liked, is I thought that you built sort of Driftwood Bay really nicely, and I'm hoping that we're going to be paying more than one visit. Is that right?
We absolutely are. So book 2 will be out later this year. Book 2 is based around Gemma that you meet in this book. I really like the character of Gemma.
I love Gemma.
She's slightly younger than Meredith. I like the fact that they're kind of you don't have to have the same age friends. So Gemma is in book 2, and then book 3 is actually about Meredith's mom, and Martin appears in that quite a lot as well. So which is Clem's dad.
Yeah, because I mean, we talked about there being a lot of humour in the book, but there's also there's a lot of serious stuff going on as well, and which I like, and I think readers like as well. There's a really good balance, and Meredith's relationship with her mother is certainly challenging, and I think that that's kind of relatable to again to a lot of people. So one of the things I wondered about, when Meredith decided to go through with this kind of mad idea, it felt to me like, because she was kind of she was still trying to get over losing her lovely Nana, who'd been, that was her key maternal figure through her life growing up, wasn't it? And the fact that it was Nana's money that had gone towards the purchase, was that kind of, is that what, that to me felt like that this is what was kind of driving Meredith on, when she turns up and she finds out that perhaps the I don't think it's a spoiler to say that perhaps the estate agent was a little optimistic in some of his descriptions.
Well, I'm sorry if there's any estate agents here, but sometimes they are a little bit what's the word? I don't know. Elaborate.
Imaginative.
Very good word. Yes. Very good word.
So she turns up, and it's, well, I mean, it's a disaster, isn't it, really? I don't think there's any two ways about it.
Yes, she's certainly not going to be stopping there the first night.
No.
But but then she, she just kind of takes it as this is what it is and not stresses about it, and I think that's kind of what you have to do in life, isn't it? Sometimes you just take things as they're thrown at you, because you can stress about things, but you're not going to change the thing that's stressed you out in the first place. In most cases, you've just got to find a way through. And I always remember meeting somebody.
I mean, she's not. Sorry, I was just going to say she's not pathetic, and she's not a wallflower, and she doesn't need rescuing. She does need help because there are jobs that she can't do. So, and thank goodness Clem's around. So
Absolutely.
at least she's got something good to look at, fixing the shelf, wearing stuff, and whatever. So, if you found yourself in that situation, you need a Clem, or would you be able to? How handy are you? Because I know you're kind of, it's you and your lad, isn't it? It's like you have to, when stuff goes wrong. Mind you, I'm married, and when stuff goes wrong, I have to bloody fix it.
I'm very good. I have a very good contact list in my phone. So I have people that I can ring up. I kind of look at things and go, I could do that myself. And then I start. And I have the attention span of Dory, the goldfish. So I might start something and then go, oh God, what have I started this for? And I normally ring up my friend's husband and go, Don, I've started building this furniture in my garden and I'm a bit stuck. And he's like, okay, I'll come down. So luckily he's never far away. I'm not handy at all. I would really like to be, and I've been watching I've been a bit obsessed recently with reels on Facebook, and I'm just flicking through loads of reels, and there's all these women that are just kind of going, oh, I'm going to put up a petition wall, and I'm going to decorate, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And I've kind of sat there and gone, I need to do more of that, definitely need to do more of that. But when it actually comes to it, I won't. I'll just pay somebody to do it for me.
Oh, see, I used to work in the construction industry, so I know what my limitations are. I can write you an instruction on how to do it. I can write a risk assessment and a method statement. I can do all of that. Do a full safety plan. I can do all that, but I'm going to pay somebody else to do the job. So that's the trouble. If I ever hire somebody, the first thing when they kind of come to door, and I'm like, have you got a risk assessment and a method statement for the work you're going to do today? And they're like, excuse me.
See, I'm the opposite.
Like, no, really, I wasn't joking. I want to see it.
Yeah. See, I would be the opposite.
Like, I've got some in my bag. I'm like, why don't you get them?
Well, I'll be the one that's going, can you not just like stand on that wall and reach for it? That'd be me.
Don't. I can't. I'm terrible. I have to not. Mark's like, stop looking, because he can tell as I'm walking around if I'm looking and there's somebody on a scaffold or something like that. He's like, stop it. And I'm like, well, he shouldn't be doing that. So Clem's probably lucky that he got Meredith and he didn't, or he'd still be trying to do his job. So we've got a couple of questions. So let's have a look at the comments here. Lovely Ian's here. Ian Wilfred, he's always such a cheerleader for it. What he wants to know is, are you enjoying writing a series, Kim? Because I think, is this right? Is this this is your other books have been standalones?
Yeah, it is. My first series. I am enjoying it. I am enjoying it very much, but I have a really, really rubbish memory. So I do have to kind of keep going back and checking things. And when I say checking things, they're not even little things. They're quite big things that I have to check, like what people's names are, where they live, how old they are, those sort of things. So I think once I've done that, and I'm kind of trying to keep a bit of a Bible as I'm going along, which I think has really helped me. But yes, I am really enjoying it.
That's great. I mean, I'm still, what am I writing now? My 5th series, and I still tell myself I'm going to do that, and then I've got post-its that like there's stuck all up the arm of my laptop. I can remember things that are going on. So I always say I'm going to be better, but I never am.
Post-its all over the place as well.
So, we've got a lovely question here from Joe, which is one of the things that I wanted to ask about. Does your background working in the publishing industry affect your nerves on publication day? Does it make you more or less able to relax about it all? And have you been able to step back from the bits that your publisher handles for you, or do you kind of want to get involved? It's a really interesting thing. How is it being on both sides of the fence?
It's been really nice not to have to do everything myself. I felt quite relaxed about this publication day, to be honest. So I've kind of known which bits I need to do, which bits I don't. Whereas the last 3 books...
I'm going to turn my camera off because I've got a bit of a rubbish signal. So hang on a sec.
Okay. So yeah, I've been...
I've
been able to concentrate on the things that I've been able to do. And my last 3 books were self-published, so I literally had to do everything myself. And I am a bit of a control freak, but with this one, I don't know, I just feel a bit differently. Whether it's because it's my 6th book, whether it's because it's with Boldwood, who are a brilliant publisher who I just feel will just get on with doing everything that they do as brilliantly as they do for everybody else. I just feel a lot more chilled. So today it's been an absolute pleasure. I've been looking forward to it. The reviews that have come through have been brilliant. But I haven't been kind of obsessively kind of checking everything and worrying. I've just approached it differently this time.
I think you find that you have to do that you can, after a while, and I guess because you're involved in the industry anyway, that there are some things that are just beyond your control. And getting unnecessarily worked up about things that you can't do anything about. It's I mean, it's easier said than done sometimes, but it's really it's hard to balance, and it's hard to do. But I do definitely think that that just being able to kind of go, right, I've done my job, I've done what I've written the very best story I can, and kind of let it go, as the song goes. Are you well into book 2? Sorry, are you? So
no,
is that
I
helping
am.
you to be distracted because you're?
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. So I've kind of book 2 is written, and I'm just kind of going through and doing the edits now and just trying to make it as best as I can do. So yeah, I feel quite organised. There's a little bit of me that's gone, have I missed something really, really major? But I'm hoping that I haven't.
I'm going to pop back. I'm going to see if that's settled down again. Sorry about that, everybody, but my signal all went a bit radar, and I was like, I just thought I'd do that. So hopefully things have settled down. So now, you said you have not been obsessed about your publication day, but a bird tells me that you might are a little bit obsessed with lighthouses after writing this book.
A little bit. Yeah, and it's really weird because the whole point of this book, I can't even find the card now. I don't know what I've done with that. This book came about because a friend of mine sent me a Christmas card.
And a Christmas card, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't actually know where the Christmas card is because it was here, which is bizarre. I will find it. I'll just furk around by the side of me now until I find. Oh, here it is. So this is where it came from. So this Christmas card came, and it's very sparkly. If you look into the light, and it's gorgeous. And this turned up. It was the first Christmas card that I had, and I put it on my bureau in front of me, which is where I sit and write. And sitting next to me, and it was kind of sparkling away at me. And I just kept looking at it and thinking, God, I love that. I love the card. I wonder who lives in those houses on the hill, and who's in the boats on the water. And there was a little robin on the card, and I was like, who lives in that lighthouse? What's on that floor? And I just kept thinking about it. And then I kind of looked around me, and in my I've got my dining room is next to this room that I'm in now, and there's a big picture with a lighthouse on the wall. And then when I went into the lounge, I've got a picture. Sea picture, and it's like a wooden hut on the beach, and in the background there's a lighthouse. And then I went up into my spare bedroom and I found another lighthouse. And then I bought another lighthouse, and then the picture of my bed, it's got a lighthouse on it. So I have become a little bit obsessed with lighthouses, so much so that I spent this is the most expensive mug I've ever bought in my life, and it was £16 in the sale. So I do love it. It's beautiful. It's got this lighthouse, and it has got, I don't know if you on the inside there's a picture of a lighthouse as well. And I just love it. Nice. I'm very, very careful with it, and it doesn't go in the dishwasher. But yeah, I think I am a bit obsessed with lighthouses, to be honest.
No, that's lovely. That's a really nice origin story. I like that. That's lovely. That's really kind of heartwarming. And it's amazing what gives you inspiration, isn't it? And obviously it's like it was meant to be, because something was telling you somewhere in your subconscious that this story was in there. So that's fabulous.
I'm sure there are worse things to be obsessed with.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Clem, for a start, I wouldn't mind being. I might be quite obsessed with him reading the book. Sorry, moving on from Mr. Hot, Mr. Rude. From the Lighthouse, Kim was Jessica Redlands here. Hi, Jessica, and she's asking, would you like to live in a lighthouse or somewhere else more unusual? I went with some friends of mine on a writing retreat a few weeks ago, and we stayed in what was originally an old mill, and it was beautiful and it was fabulous. It was a lovely place, but a few days I was like, I couldn't live. I mean, they'd done it fantastic. There were bedrooms in the tower, but thankfully there were some bedrooms in the the main part of the house as well. But apart from the death-defying stairs, we all decided that because we were women of a certain age, that there was going to be no good, because the bedrooms sort of led into each other from the tower. And so if you were on the third floor, you'd be like climbing through two other bedrooms to try and find the loo in the middle of the night. So, but have you ever been tempted, or do you quite like your nice conservatory and your mod
Yeah, I am.
Things like that?
I saw Emma Robinson in the audience, and Emma will tell you. I go away with Emma quite a bit. We'd go on writing retreats, and every October we go on another writing retreat. And when people are looking for places, going, "What do you think of this?" I go, "No, it looks haunted. No, it's too dark. No, it looks like your nan's house." And I'm really where I go, and I'm like, "No, I don't want that view. I don't want the view of the, a wooden fence. Why would I want that?" So I'm really fussy, because I suppose I'm quite lucky where I am here. I've got loads of light around me. There's a massive nature reserve at the back. So kind of land out the back and out my bedroom window. I've got lots of, really nice view and stuff. So I am quite fussy. So old buildings, I have to say, I'm a bit of a wimp, to be honest, Sarah, and they would frighten the living daylights out of me. I wouldn't sleep.
Today.
Somewhere that I thought was haunted, I would not sleep all night long.
No, I mean, it had a lovely vibe. It was a really nice sort of friendly, warm house. But I mean, there were steps here, steps here, steps there. I've never seen so much kind of yellow and black warning tape in my life. And, it was still kind of, no, I mean, it was lovely, it was great and nice to sort of hang out and everything like that. But no, I was kind of like, get me back to mum's something sort of sensible and easy to manage, and where I'm not going to fall over in seconds. So
yeah, definitely.
Jessica says your mug is beautiful.
Thank you.
And she's been watching it all the time, and she's very jealous of it. So sorry, I should have said this at the start. You're going to give away a signed copy of your book, aren't you? So to somebody who comment or says hello, or but what we'll do, or what we normally do, because not everybody can make it live, is we'll leave it open for a couple of days. So if you are watching this on camera, please let us know that you've popped in, and say hello. If you want to leave a question, then I'm sure, Kim, you wouldn't mind. You'll have a look afterwards, and anything that we don't pick up during this, you'll be happy to reply to. Sorry, I'm volunteering for you for a lot of stuff there, but I think you'd be happy to do that. Yeah.
What we could perhaps do, it's Thursday now, so perhaps if we leave it open till the end of Sunday, and then we'll pick a winner on Monday. Does that sound okay to everybody?
That's what I would normally do. Yeah, I give people a chance. Yeah, because like lovely Sarah here, Sarah Price is here. She's having a listen while she's at work. She's got her headphones on. Good girl. That's what we like. Sneaking in. But yeah, a lot of people will be at work, or so they'll want to catch up in the evening or over the weekend. So I think that's a great idea. And once the chat's over, we'll share it. I'll share it as well on my page, and we'll share it a couple of times so people can catch up. So Sarah,
you are a rebel,
I'm a rebel too, Sarah, because I'm supposed to be working. So nobody tell my editor that I'm here.
Don't worry.
Yeah. A question here from Bethan. Can you relate to any of your characters in any of your books? If so, which one? Is there one particular character, or do you give them, have they all got a flavour of you?
Oh, I think they've all got a flavour of me, to be honest. Whenever my best friend reads them, she always says, I can so see you doing this. I think there's a lot of me in most of my characters, to be honest. Or maybe I should say there's a lot of how I might like to be.
Yes.
How I am.
Isn't that wonderful, though, that when you're writing these scenes, you can have, you can give them all this amazing courage, and, you can have a bit, you can have a bit of a showdown with somebody, and you can tell them where to stick it. I wrote one of those scenes in my book that I'm working on at the moment, and I had a lot of fun with it. I was like, no, she's just gonna, and maybe it's not always completely practical, but we're allowed an element of sort of wish fulfillment and maybe a touch of fantasy that, this is, how we'd like to be, and perhaps how we see a slightly idealized version of ourselves. So no, I do like that, because But yeah, it's look, Jessica says, oh, we haven't seen her either. We haven't seen you. Don't know what you're talking about. Who said that? Well, I never read it out. I didn't say it. Everybody look away from the comments. No, it's good. We have to sort of take a little break, and we have to take a breath and help each other to celebrate. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping you're finding, that you're with us here in the Boldwood family, that we are a family, and I hope you've had a really good welcome and that you're feeling part of things already. It certainly seems like you've sort of settled in really well and sort of thrown yourself into everything, which is lovely. And
it's been amazing, to be honest. And the reception that I've had has been wonderful. There's a lot of people in there that I knew already, which was really nice as well. But even the people that I didn't know have all been so lovely, and it's just a nice, friendly family to be involved with, really.
It's great, isn't it? I do love the little group that everybody's really kind of supportive and welcoming, and everybody helps each other out. So it doesn't matter kind of where anybody is on their sort of publication journey, as it were, in their writing career, and how much or how little they know about the industry. Everybody's got something to contribute and to. And I mean, it's amazing, really. We've been sort of celebrating 4 years now in the last few weeks. And I mean, how we've the whole thing. I say we like it's my company. It's not, but it feels like that. I feel you do. You feel like you feel a sense of ownership to it. But it's so. I'm really glad that I lost you for a sec there. I don't know if that was you or that was Zach. No, that's all right. As long as you still hear me, I'm going to keep going. You can hear me. So, here's a good question from Joyce, and actually, she must be a mind reader, because it says, "Are there dogs in this book? And is it based on Ronnie?" Now, you always have a dog in your book, don't you?
I do like a dog in my book, and it's just, let me just show you if I can see my very untidy room. Here's Ronnie. Look, this is what Ronnie does. He's normally upside down, showing his bits off to everybody.
He's working hard today.
He is. But yeah, I do like a dog in my books. And in this book, we have a dog called Gladys. And when I knew that I wanted a dog called Gladys, and I messaged my sister and I said to her, guess what I've called my dog in my latest book? She was like coming out with all these names. And then when I said Gladys, she went, "Oh, you've nearly made me cry." And Gladys was my nan. So I've kind of named the dog after my nan, which is a bit weird, but the dog's lovely and my nan was lovely. So
no, that's lovely. Yeah. No, that's a lovely tribute. And I think I love putting dogs in my books, and I think they tell you a lot about a character. You can kind of draw a reader into the nature of a character by the way that they interact with their animals, or they interact around animals and things like that. So and it's a really kind of it's a without having to go into no, it's fine. It keeps cutting out. So
no, I was going to say one of the other things. This book particularly is I write it in the first person, so I think it's quite nice that sometimes the things that you're kind of thinking in the head, or the characters thinking in the head, they can kind of be talking to the animals as well. Because I talk to my dog. Poor old Ronnie just gets talked at all day long, so that kind of happens as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I think it's such a, I don't want to say the word tool because that sounds a bit cold, but you know what I mean? It's a really useful device for giving readers an extra insight without kind of, because sometimes you need to tell people about what's going on, but if a character's on their own, it's kind of, unless you do like a massive kind of exposition dump on the page, it's having something there, a dog or a cat or whatever, it's even a photograph or something that they can kind of have a conversation with, and you can follow the train of their thought with. I think it's great. So no, I'm all for dogs, definitely. So well, I have to be, because I've got 5 in my series at the moment. I went a bit overboard with the doggies this time.
I can only cope with one at a time.
Yeah. So. Well, then I wrote a scene the other week, and then I was like, oh, where's the dogs? Where's the bloody dogs? I've got to find the dogs. So I had to go back and put the dogs in because I'd forgotten about them. So they can be an up and down. So oh, bless her. Joyce is like, she feels vindicated that my internet keeps going in and out, because that happens all the time on Zoom calls. It always does. I mean, when you want it to be perfect, it's not. So I think part of the problem is my husband's working, and he's on a call. He's been on a call all morning, so rather him than me. So I guess we've probably he was supposed to be finished by now, but obviously it's dragged on a bit. So I'm guessing I'm going to blame him. I'm blaming him for stealing my bandwidth. So.
I would normally blame Ollie, you see, because Ollie would normally be playing on his Xbox, and I always used to say to him on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, that's it, you need to come off your Xbox. You're not allowed on your Xbox. You're not allowed to use the internet in any way whatsoever. I am having and he always used to get really fed up with me, because I always used to say, I'm going to use all the juice for the next hour. And he's like, Mum, it doesn't work like that. And I'm like, it does. I'm having the internet juice for a whole hour.
So can I ask you how you find it kind of balancing your job with your writing, because you're working full time? Is your job flexible, and do you get time to write during the day, or is it only kind of, are you doing normal office hours in your job and then you're writing in the evenings and the weekends?
I actually have a Friday off now, so I've gone down to 4 days a week, but I do 5 days work over 4 days. Yeah, that's right. So I only work for 4 days, but I do the hours of a 5-day week over 4 days. So I do 4 sort of busy days, and then I get a Friday off, and that's really helped me, to be honest, to have kind of a Friday to focus, because otherwise I was kind of grabbing an hour before work, grabbing an hour after work. I am quite quick once I get writing. So, I can easily do 1,000 words before work in the morning if I've got an hour before work in the morning. But with having Ollie to get to school, with having the dog to walk, I don't always get an hour sort of before I start work in the morning. Sometimes I do at night time, and then every other weekend Ollie's with his dad anyway, so I kind of have that time to myself, and I'm really lucky like that. But I do like to go away and write in retreats, and I'm quite quick, so I can sort of, when I really try hard, and when I'm not distracted, when my friends aren't kind of going, oh, don't stop in writing on a Friday, come out and have coffee and cake and stuff. When I put my mind to it, I can write quite quickly. So I'm quite good like that. Just need to be more disciplined, really. But so that's kind of how it fits in around work, really.
Yeah. And I know we talked about your lighthouse card being the inspiration for this. But Valerie's asked a really interesting question. She said, do you have a light bulb moment that makes you start a book? What kind of got you writing in the first place? And, did you have a story just come to you, or was it like the Christmas card? Have you always had something external that's triggered that? Or
I think the first book that I ever wrote was called Amazing Grace, and it was very much based on me. I started writing that just after my mum died, actually, and mum had been really poorly, and as a family we were all obviously grieving. We had an amazing family. My mum was just the most wonderful mother, and I think as a family we were all a bit scared and pussyfooted around each other a bit, so I kind of didn't want to tell my sister how I was feeling because I didn't want to upset her. We didn't want to talk to my dad about it because we knew it would upset my dad, so we kind of all kept a lot in, really. And I wrote down what I thought my mum would say to me if she could still talk to me. And that's where Amazing Grace came from, to be honest. That's kind of where the bones of it came from. I did put it to one side at the time, and then I sort of went off. I had a baby. I went and did various jobs, and I kind of came back to it a few years later and sat down and thought, you know what, I think this could be something more than it is. And that's kind of when I went back to it and explored it, and that's when it became my first book.
Oh, what a beautiful tribute to her and to her memory, and that's something, and that's something that you'll always have, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, and that book is dedicated to Mum. And I remember when I first listened to the audiobook, and I'd completely forgotten that I'd dedicated it to Mum. And when I started listening to the audiobook, it was my dedication to Mum, and oh my God, I was in tears. I made myself cry.
Do you find I find that really interesting, because I've listened to some of mine on audio, and it's almost like a sort of out of body experience sometimes, and I'm like, who wrote this? Was that where did that come from? Or that's quite a good line. It's a really it's actually a really good that's my top tip now that you're doing a series, is get the audiobook, because
actually, yeah,
you know, when you're kind of writing as well, it helps you kind of without having to sit and kind of read it through yourself. You can kind of dip in and out of it, and it will bring you back kind of into the setting again, and into the mood that you were feeling when you were writing the book. And really, I find it really does help me kind of you know, really get back into the setting and the feeling and the flavor, and you know, the voice for that sort of particular series and things like that. So that's my
Mary's just said that's right.
Yeah. So, Mary said it's a great tip. Well, you know, we need all the help we can get. So, Elaine says she remembers bawling her eyes out in the dentist waiting room while she was reading Amazing Grace. So I think that's always a lovely tribute when you've written something that's touched somebody else, and a reader comes and says to you, you know, this was a special moment for me, or you know, anytime anybody reaches out and you know, and is kind enough to let you know that they've enjoyed something. It's really it's hard to explain to people how much that means.
It really is. And I think for me, I think when I first started being an author, I was a bit obsessed with how many copies I'd sold, whether it was doing as well as somebody else. There was a bit of, you know, kind of comparison going on. And I always remember somebody saying that comparison is the thief of joy. And I kind of thought, oh my God, that is so true. And then I kind of looked at some of the letters that I'd got from people, and that now to me is success. I kind of, obviously it's lovely that people want to buy my books and I can earn money from writing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think for me, when I get I don't know, a message or a Facebook message or a text message from a friend, or an email from somebody that I don't know, those things are the things for me that show that's kind of what being an author is all about for me. And I know one of my friends, Rachel, who's at the side of me, said that she hadn't read anything for years, and she picked up my first book and it's turned her back into an avid reader. And so that means the world to me.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Yeah. I find that any time that anybody says anything, or you get a message and somebody says, you know, gosh, I was having a really hard time, and people, you know, I think sometimes people use the tag of easy reading, and it's meant to be a bit of a put down for, you know, or people don't respect the sort of the genre that we write in. But the fact that, you know, I can take somebody away for a couple of hours if they're having a hard time, or, you know, work's rubbish, and, you know, families just, they've got stuff going on, or whatever, and they can just sit and just go somewhere lovely for a couple of hours and have a cup of tea or a glass of wine and just chill out. I think that's it's a gift beyond description, I think, and that's kind of what I have to kind of think to myself sometimes, you know, when people laugh about romance books or whatever. I just think, well, how sad for you that you don't understand the pleasure that we get from writing these books and sharing these books, and the pleasure that readers get.
Absolutely.
Joe's got a question. I've never listened to one of my audiobooks. Somehow rereading my book or listening to my audiobook feels akin to watching myself on a video, but maybe I should try. it is a bit cringe at first, but it's such a good tool, and I do find that the audio is easier for me to kind of be separate from the story and to kind of listen to it without kind of editing it like I would re-edit it on the page. You know, if you go back and read something once it's out there and you've written it, you'll always find something and you think, oh, I could have just said that slightly differently, I could have rewritten that. But when it's kind of coming at you in a different format, I don't feel the same way. I can actually get into the story and sort of that's how it works for me, certainly with audio. So you should give it a go, Jo. That's my top tip. So
it's a really good,
and don't worry about it, Jo. Your audiobooks are fabulous, so you should enjoy it.
It's so nice. I'm looking at all the comments that are coming through, and there's people here that these books that I've been reading, and they are just phenomenal as well. So you know, it's really lovely. I feel quite honoured that all these writers are coming to listen to us.
Wow, you're part of our family now. So this is a really interesting question. I always find this quite hard. There's a question here from lovely Sarah Price. And she wants to know, do you have a favourite character that you've created?
I think probably I loved Grace from Amazing Grace because she went through the things that I went through, and she's probably more, that sounds really awful, doesn't it? I loved her because she was like me. That sounds a bit wrong.
No. I think I understand what you're saying. So
I think probably I can relate to her is what I'm trying to say. But I really like Meredith from this book as well. I think Meredith's way braver than I am.
Oh, she's a pistol. I love her so much. She's just, I'm like, yes, every time she just like kind of when you think, oh, I'm not going to say anything or you're going to step back, and she doesn't. She steps forward and she's like, no, actually, I'm going to call you out and I'm going to say something. And I think, you know, I give her a little cheer. I'm like, I have a little, yay, go on.
I think it's really important to have characters that people can relate to, and I loved Nellie in my Muddleford books.
Yeah,
I loved all the 4 characters in my Sunshine and Second Chances. I think for me, and when I'm reading a book, I want to relate to the character, and I want to root for the character right from the start. So it's really important for me that my main character is somebody that you really, really like.
Great. So we've got 10 minutes to go. So if anybody has got a burning question, whack it into the comments now and we'll pick it up. Otherwise, so the next book is going to be Gemma.
Yep.
And are you able to tell us anything more about her story? Are you able to give us a hint about the hero? Is he somebody that we've met? Is it somebody coming in?
He's not somebody that we've met.
Oh,
lovely. I love him, actually. He's a fireman.
Oh, that's always a winner.
I know. And he's called Jude because I didn't know what to call him. And then we were watching the England match one night and Jude Bellingham scored a goal. And I went, Jude, that's it. I'm having a Jude. So he's called Jude. He's a single dad. And I like him a lot.
Great. Well, you should. We should fall in love with these heroes as we're writing them, definitely.
I have definitely fallen in love with Jude.
Yeah. So Denise is joining us from Canada.
Hi,
and
Denise.
She says, are your books selling in Canada? I tell all my clients about you and I hope it works. Can't wait for your next book.
Oh, bless you. Denise is a friend of a friend, and that's how I kind of know Denise. They should be selling in Canada. As far as I'm aware, they're definitely selling in Canada. So thank you very much for telling all your clients.
That's one of the great things about Boldwood is that they do, it's a worldwide release and it's all formats available in all areas at the same time. So whether it's paperback or it's audio or it's the digital version, the ebook version, you should be able to get hold of it either through Amazon, or if you prefer, then any of your independent bookshops or any of your chain bookstores, if you go in and speak to them, they should be able to sort that out for you. So look, Sarah's gone, Jude is a perfect name for a heartthrob. I adore Jude Law.
I think you'll like my Jude, Sarah. I think you'll like him.
Definitely. So Jessica, there's a question. What's your biggest writing goal for the short and the long term?
Oh, good grief, Jessica. Haven't you got books to write, lady?
Yeah, go and do your edits, Jessica.
Oh my God.
That's a bit of a rough one. Shall we? We'll leave that one for later. You can think about that one.
She's thrown it in and she's just buggered off now, isn't she? Bless. My biggest writing goal, obviously, I'm writing these 3 books at the moment, and then I need to think about what's going to happen next. But I suppose it depends a little bit on the success of these, whether people want to read more about this series. There's a lot of oh, she's still here. Look, what else with you, Jessica Redland? I thought you said you got work to do. Yeah, I think for now that's kind of my goal. Long term, I just want people to keep reading my books. I want people to keep loving my books, and I think that's probably it for now.
Well, I'm definitely sold. So crack on. I'm ready for Gemma's book, so it's really lovely. So oh, and Mary's asked, and this is sort of in related to that. And I'm sorry I did miss it earlier. What do you love to read? Because we all love writing, you know, we talk about writing all the time, but what do you love to read?
I love to read the books that I write. I love. I do mix it up sometimes with crime thrillers. But I've got to the stage, I've changed since lockdown. I want to read things that make me smile. I want to read things that make me, you know, that make my heart feel full of joy. I don't really want to read things that are scaring me and that make my, you know, make me wake up in the middle of the night because they're giving me nightmares and stuff like that. I do like a bit of historical fiction. I do very much like historical fiction, so definitely throw that into the mix as well. But for me, it is that kind of feel-good, heartwarming, uplifting type of read. These the sort of stuff that I can't get enough of.
No, I'm 100% with you. I'm absolutely, and I've been finding that as well, like with things that I watch on the TV. So, I mean, everybody is, and I know it's brilliantly written and it's a great cast and everything else and that, but everybody's like been raving about Succession. And we watched the first episode, and I hated everybody. They were all so irredeemably awful. And I know that's kind of the point of the series and the show, but I was just like, I need to be on somebody's side. And there was literally nobody. They could have all fallen in a hole, and I would have happily poured a ton of concrete on them and never thought about them again. So I just sort of said to my husband, look, if you're going to watch that, go and watch it. I can't, I want things that I can be invested in. I want people that I want to see them succeed, and I want to kind of go on that journey with them, and I want people to be happy, and I want to feel that, like you said, joy and just celebration, and so
definitely. And I don't
definitely.
know
So Grace wants to know.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I don't know if anybody's watched Ted Lasso here, but Ted Lasso is just the most joyous, fabulous program with characters that you just love, and they just have these amazing relationships with each other, and I just love it. And I watched the whole thing with a big smile on my face, and it's one of my favourite things on the telly. Grace and Frankie was always one of my favourite things, and Ted Lasso's taken over Grace and Frankie.
Oh, I love Grace and Frankie. Kim's Convenience on Netflix, which is like about a Korean family who run a convenience store in Canada.
Right.
That's brilliant. That's got that same kind of feel good vibe, and so I check that one out. That's one of my top tips if you're looking for something new to watch. So we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to thank everybody who has joined us, and thank Kim, and wish her a very, very happy publication day. And I can't recommend Hopeful Hearts at Cornish Cove enough. It's if you like what I like and what I write, then you know you're going to love this. So get it on your Kindle, get it in your ears, get it from your local bookshop, whatever it is that you want to do. But I would definitely recommend it.
And you might want a signed copy.
Well, that's the other thing as well. Yeah, leave a comment. And as I said, if you're watching this on catch up and it's before Sunday evening, then you know, say hello, let us know that you've been here, and you'll be included as well. So well, I think it just leaves me to say thank you very much, Kim, and that was brilliant to catch up with you.
Thank you so much.
So and
coming along.
Thanks to everybody who popped along. Let me just show you my face. I'm still here. Thank you. I'll give you a little wave goodbye. And I'm sorry about the camera, but you didn't need to see my face. So and I look forward to everybody soon. And I wish you all the success in the world with this, Kim, and I really hope it flies because it deserves to. So I think that on that we're going to say thanks everybody. Thank you all for your lovely comments and goodbye.
Thanks everybody. Bye.